Welcome to our podcast, to our AIX podcast. And we are here today with Swapnil, who is one of our experts and one of our trainers. Very happy to have you here, Swapnil, today. Please give a short introduction to yourself, who you are, how you came to AI, and most importantly, what are you doing?
Sure. Thank you, Mark, for having me here for today. It's
It's
really
a
my
pleasure.
pleasure to connect with you and be here today. If I have to take you through my journey, I started my career about 20 years back in IT. I started as a database developer and C++ developer.
Hmm.
I worked for almost like 6 7 years, but it was during 2009 and 10. That's when our customers we were working with. I was mostly involved in supply chain domain. Then I was working for a product-based company in IT
Hmm.
industry.
Hmm.
We developed products for supply chain companies. So during 2009 and 10, what we saw was that the our customers, our client, who were majors, manufacturers, or retailers around the world, they said that we don't want to hear your presentation deck. We hear a lot about presentations, but more than the presentation, here is our data. Show
Uh-huh.
us how you can bring transformation to our business. So
Yeah.
they started sharing their inventory data, demand forecasting stuff, forecasting data, and they said, okay, show us how much can you improve our demand forecast, or how do you help us to manage. And that's when our company decided to form a team to support clients who generally we call it as POC, proof of
Hmm.
concept. So we
Yes.
had a lot of products. We had products in about every aspect of supply chain, and we said, okay, fine, we will take your data and we'll start implementing our solutions, and we'll show you the benefit. So that's how I got into the world of machine learning and data science in
Hmm.
2010, and we created our own small tools to take customer data, and show them the improvement. So after working for almost like 6 7 years on database, Java and C sharp kind of applications, I had to switch to work with R modeling, Python modeling, data science modeling, and we used our own internal tools. And that was the beginning of my journey into AI. So it's
Hmm.
been almost like, I would say, 12 to 13 years been in this industry. I have moved from supply chain. I spent most of my life, almost like half of my experience, more than 10 years in supply chain domain.
Hmm.
And now I'm working as a manager for a team that works on data science. And most current work involves mostly working with files and making sense out of the alerts, other things that we get into our in our organization. So it's been
Hmm.
a good journey, and and I've been liking it from day one.
Really, it's really day one. No? So if you see the fast development that AI is currently making, when was for you, let's say, the turning point that you said, "Oh my God, this technology is really changing the world, and not only changing certain areas, but really in every area of life, it will be a transformative technology." When was this moment that you recognized this?
Right. See, when we started into this journey, like it was still we were working in a siloed environment, right? We're focusing
Mm,
on demand forecasting, we're doing on inventory management. But then we realized that if we can combine all of these, and we came out with concept of control tower, where we said, okay, now we have to combine right from inventory to your forecasting to your factory data to the logistics. We have to go to and connect to suppliers as well to understand what how much inventory they can fulfill to us. So when you started connecting all these dots together, right, and we were getting
mm,
remarkable results, that's when I thought, oh, we are getting into a futuristic world where
mm,
everything is seamless. We cannot look demand as just a demand. We cannot just look inventory as an inventory. You need to understand your inventory level. You need to understand your suppliers. You need to know how much is stuck in in transportation. So So when we started looking at the entire system as holistic system, I think in if you look at in supply chain world, we were talking about this end-to-end supply chain for a long time. But really, it was not happening, right? Because you
Yes.
use different systems, and your system and your supplier system, your client system would be so different. But when you started putting this data science kind of thing, we never called it data science. We later realized that, oh, this is called machine learning or this is called data science. When we started, it was just a customer demand to put everything together. So I think last 5 6 years, when we are seeing this, there we have to integrate everything together. I think that's where I feel that, the world is now what we used to say future 5 years back is now probably past, right? Now you're talking about generative AI. So what we thought 5 years back is future is now becoming past, actually.
That's true. We are both coming from the supply chain industry. What is your feeling when you see companies? Because I guess you know a lot of companies in India and mostly also beyond India. What is your feeling or your experience of the status of companies in supply chain management when it comes to AI? Do you think that most companies already have implemented AI systems in supply chain management, or do you think most companies are still working with the traditional tools and are still to start their journey into AI?
So I would like to answer in two parts. One part is like, if you ask based on my experience, what I've seen, that companies have started knowing, okay, or probably they know that they have to get into this, right? They have to get into machine learning. They have to get into AI. They have to get into the newer aspect of AI, like generative modeling and things like that. But probably they don't know how. And the reason I think they don't know how is like they have kind of inhibition. What if I share my data with some other company, right? So I think they have realized the power. They know the importance of AI into supply chain, into bringing into their organizations, but probably they are not ready there yet because probably they don't have right talent. Okay, so they need to reskill a lot of their workforce. They need to come out of their innovation that this is my data. Of course, we have security thing in place. There has to be mechanism to secure the company's data, but then there are tools, there are mechanism. They just have to come out of their comfort zone and start accepting. They know it is important, but I think they are far from implementing it in the full fledged. So, because various reasons, could be the resources not available, the manpower skilling may be required, or you need to have tools where you are open to share your information with outside world. We all want people to give us information, but we are not ready to open our doors. So I think if once they get through these kind of things, they should be able to get the full benefit of AI. So still not there, I guess, Mark. Okay, still a lot of work is required in this industry, and I think there's a
Yeah.
lot of scope in supply chain.
Yeah, fully agree. We made opinion polls among companies, and about 70% of the companies have not done anything in AI yet. They are planning to
Wow.
do, but they haven't. So 30% have, 70% haven't. But what I'm scared
Right.
about is those 70% who haven't in comparison to the 30% who have. So what is your opinion? If a company let's stick with supply chain management. If a company has implemented AI technology in their processes, and let's assume that their processes are now running better, that they can do better forecasting and so on, and companies which haven't and which are not planning to do in the next 1 to 2 years, do you think those companies will survive in the competition with the companies who are having AI tools in their supply chain management? What is your opinion about this when you look in the future?
Right. So, Mark, if you can allow me to become blunt, I would say
Yes.
difficult to survive. Right. So it's no matter. It's not something that It's not like something special. Okay. What I feel now is that AI has to be part of your life. Okay, it's not a choice that should I do or not. Okay, now again, if we go a few decades back, and you have probably spent more time in supply chain, so you know that, right? Earlier, when people were focused more on inventory, They never bothered about demand. They never bothered about, say, logistics. Their aim was, how do I manage my inventory? But then when we got ERP systems into place, when they started connecting demand and planning and the logistics, they started getting a lot of benefit, isn't it? So I think some things bigger than that is happening, I would say. Okay. Companies who have already implemented, and of course those 30% that you mentioned, they could be at different levels of implementation. Some of them could be at very extreme end, using the advanced features of AI. There could be maybe 10-20% who's probably got into level 1, level 2 of implementation. So definitely there would be a gap between those 30% as well. But at least they have started the journey. They have some kind of roadmap. But the 70% companies, okay, if they do not have a roadmap and if you don't know when they're going to start, it will be a problem. Okay, it's no longer a choice. Okay, it has to be, the competition now is about how good you make the tool, right? There's always pressure
Yeah.
on the price. You always have to reduce your cost, right? The market is not driven by the consumer. You cannot demand a price. Okay, there are very few companies, like I would say Apple, which can demand any price, right? I mean, apart from one or two companies, no other companies can say that we can command the price. The price is driven by consumer. How do you give the best product at the lowest cost possible? So if you are not implementing these new technologies, it will be difficult for you to keep your cost low, at the same time improve your supply chain process, right? So I think it's high time these 70% companies start creating some kind of roadmap for implementing AI.
Yeah, fully agree. What do you think are the main challenges companies face with implementing AI? And do you have any ideas how they can overcome those challenges?
Yeah, yes. So again, based on what I have seen and what I've understood, is that the biggest challenge, I just said, is uh, the management has to trust the team. Okay, they don't know where to start. That is very fair. Anything new comes to market, we don't have right skill set, right? So first thing is they have to start training their employees. They have to start understanding the benefits that they can get. Then then let the employees explore these technologies, use them. And I think almost every aspect of business is impacted by AI. Whether you talk about, say, inventory management, right? It could be about scheduling, right? You want to have scheduling for your during planning phase, or even for your labor scheduling and things like that. Every aspect is impacted by AI. So maybe they start looking at the process which probably are ready for AI things. So they need to do some kind of readiness analysis to know which department. I would not recommend them to go all out for it on day one itself. They need to identify projects where they can start implementing it. With that, they'll get a benefit of understanding the tools. Their employees will learn how to use this tool. Okay, and then they can explore from there. So challenges, first thing is that they have to have right skill set. They don't have to fire and hire a new set of people, because these, we do need domain experts. We need people who are already there, spend decades of their life in the industry, but they need to start changing the way they look at things. They need to start changing their perspective. They need to start implementing AI in their perspective more and more. What I have seen, again, Mark, sadly, is that during presentations they all use AI, a lot. These days, if you go to any boardroom, out of 100 words they speak, probably 20 words are like AI, machine learning, artificial intelligence. But in practice, in reality, it's not even 10%. So they
That's
need to
true.
go out and start implementing. Okay, if you don't do it, you won't see the benefit, you won't progress. So go ahead, start, figure out one or two project which you think can immediately can be implemented into by AI, and then see the benefit and take it from there. So that's what my advice would be for the managers who want to get into AI field.
Yeah, fully agree. If you see other areas, so we talked about supply chain management now, but there are other areas like marketing, like sales, like finance, like production. Do you think in other areas the implementation of AI is more it's faster than in supply chain management?
I think, if you compare, it's mostly about the people who are actually there. So if I look around, okay, supply chain should have been the first industry to lead this, right? Now, if you talk about healthcare, for example, healthcare has a lot
Yes.
of regulations, right? So apart from implementing AI, they also have to take care of regulations. But in supply chain, right, we don't have that kind of restriction as such, and compared to, let's say, finance or let's say healthcare, we don't have that kind of restrictions around. So I feel that supply chain should lead the industry, but definitely if you look around as sales marketing, and again, if you just Google and see, a lot of companies have come up, a lot of startups have come up these areas where they focus on AI in sales. Marketing has become a big industry in terms of implementing AI. The sales funnel, your marketing, social media marketing, everything has been influenced by AI. So definitely, I think those industry are leading. But see, supply chain, when you speak about, right, we don't have just one segment. It's not just, it's very vast field. So I can understand the challenge as an industry we are facing, because you have to first break down the silo, connect everything, and then move ahead. So definitely supply chain, because it's elephant in the room. It's heavy. Okay, so
Yeah.
we can't
Yeah.
move faster. But I think once we start moving, then we will change the world. And supply chain is something that touches every um, individual in the world, right? Now, today's world is so much connected, right? You buy a rice, you don't know from where you're getting the rice. There's a lot of process that is involved, right? We will continue to eat food, bread and rice. We continue to eat,
That's
right?
true.
And
Yeah.
you can't ignore. I mean, so supply chain is something, once we get into this field, every individual in the world will be impacted, and in a positive way.
Fully agree. Let's talk about the courses you are going to have on AIX. Can you say a bit about the course you are currently setting up for our users at AIX channel?
Yes, I can definitely talk about that. I'm planning to launch two courses immediately with a platform, and I have a couple of more in pipeline. The first course which I'm launching is more focused or more geared towards the retail domain, where I'm talking about generative AI. In today's world, you have Gemini and ChatGPT, which has attracted people's attention. So, how do we harness the power of these LLM models, okay, large language models, to get our work done? So, that's my first course, which I call it as generative AI in retail management. I'm talking about how to manage inventory, and I have created small use cases as well. So, like I would say, in the beginning, you'll find a few sessions which are theoretical, in the sense I'm talking about the logic behind it, the algorithms behind it. And in the later part, almost 30% of the course is where I'm implementing. So it's not just talk, it's actually implementing and showing you how we can use generative AI. So be it
So it's
for
really,
creating.
it's really practical advice. Advice. So the person who is watching this video, who is doing this training, comes out with practical advice and knows how to use it. Yeah.
Exactly, and from there they can take it forward. And second course which I'm launching is for everyone. Okay, generally the managers who can use the power of Chat GPT for doing their day-to-day work activities. So I'm more talking about how to create prompts, how to use prompts, and I've given again examples how to use Excel, PowerPoint, various other tools using ChatGPT and get your work done. So these are the courses which will go live with the launch of our platform. And then in future, I have plans for again creating some machine learning modules or AI modules for supply chain, and I'm
Yeah.
hoping to create for different aspects of supply chain, and use AI examples in those, so that people can actually see practically how we can implement AI in supply chain. And then, of course, based on the people's feedback and demand, I'm planning to create more courses in future as well.
Amazing. Looking forward to this. Will be amazing. Will be
My
amazing.
pleasure.
Yeah. So how do you see the future? I mean, you are basically a dinosaur already in the area of AI with 12 years experience. Most people, I think, know AI for the last 1.5 years since ChatGPT came out. But these last 1.5 years were so recent, so fast. So if you now look 5 years in front, what do you think will happen? What are the next steps that are coming to our society?
Mark, it's very difficult to predict next year. The things are changing so fast, right?
Yeah.
I remember like when we started, we used to create like 5-year plan, 10-year plan. Now it has become so much of, things are changing so fast. We don't even know what is coming next year.
Yeah.
But what I'm hoping and I expect also that the platform like generative AI, other platform, we will get new and better tools. We'll get tools which are faster, which are more accurate. We will get there will be other industry which will flourish, which will build. I see a lot of startups coming into this domain where they keep their models, LLM models like your Chat GPT and things in the background and create a lot more applications. Now you talk about, earlier we were only talking about creating text, right? And now we are talking
Yes.
about creating videos and audios. So we will be able to create videos which are even difficult to imagine. Forget about shooting or creating. We will be able to generate videos. The 3D manufacturing, which was again important, will take off in a much better way because we'll be able to imagine before we start printing it. So so I would not take a risk, or I would not bet on to tell you what will happen in next 5 years. But definitely for next 2 years, we will be seeing a lot of new startups coming in this
I'm
field,
sure.
using this technology in the back end and creating a lot of other applications which will be helpful. And as a bigger company which is already there in supply chain, if they don't get ready, then those smaller companies will swallow the bigger companies. So they better be prepared for this.
Yeah, can't wait. And very much looking forward to your courses. Swapnil, thank you
Thank
very, very much for your time. It was a great talk, and I'm sure it was not our last talk, because once the courses are live, I want to talk about the courses with you. I want to talk about the next courses, and I really, really love your view on AI. So let's continue our discussion very, very soon. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much, Mark. It's been a pleasure. And thank you,
Perfect.
everyone.
Thank you.